A couple of months ago, we did a segment on why Houston Texans fans should be excited about rookie running back Jalen Pitre. Now, that has been one of the best performing segments that we have done over the course of this offseason on the JT Sports Podcast. And today, we're back again talking about another rookie that Texans fans should be excited to watch this year. And that is safety Jalen Pitre. Now, he was drafted out of Baylor in the second round of this past year's 2022 NFL draft. And he was one of my favorite safety prospects coming out. If you go back and you watch any Baylor game from 2021, there's no way that you couldn't have noticed Jalen Pitre. And right off the bat, you know that this guy has a extremely high football IQ and great instincts because he just has a nose for finding the football. This is somebody who won Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year. He had 56 tackles, 18.5 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 2 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, and 3 fumble recoveries. That is an amazing stat line. And you don't put up those kind of numbers without having great awareness and having phenomenal instincts. And what has me so excited about what Jalen Pitre can do under Lovie Smith this season is the fact that he brings a lot of versatility to the Texans defense. This is somebody who played the star position for Baylor. And the star position is this hybrid role that many colleges have on their defense. And it involves having a super versatile defensive back that can do a multitude of things. Cover, blitz off the edge, and also be a really good tackler. So when you look at Jalen Pitre, this is somebody who can play any position in the secondary for Houston. He can play either free safety, strong safety, slot cornerback. And many of you guys may not know this, but when he first arrived at Baylor, he started out as a linebacker before moving to safety. So that tells you about how much talent he has. And then on top of that, he's really good in man coverage. If you're looking for somebody who can guard slot receivers or somebody who you can put inside the box and match up in man-to-man coverage against tight ends, Jalen Pitre is going to be that dude. And on top of that, he is a really consistent tackler. And that's something that you don't really say a lot when you look at the new cornerbacks and the new safeties and DBs that are entering the league. They're really good in coverage, but they don't really care that much about tackling. Jalen Pitre, that's one of the strong points in his games. When Jalen Pitre gets his arms around you, you're not going to break too many tackles. And on top of that, this is somebody who is a great blitzer. When you line him up in the slot, he times up his blitzes really perfectly. He also has really good athleticism. And he is a ball hog. This is somebody who has really good ball skills. This is just a all-around weapon that Houston Texans have on their defense. And I'm really high on Jalen Pitre. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jalen Pitre's name at the end of this year in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year, because he's going to be one of those rookies that a lot of people outside of Houston Texans fans don't know anything about and don't know how good he is until he starts making noise during the middle of the season. And it kind of reminds me a lot of Jeremy Chinn. When the Carolina Panthers drafted Jeremy Chinn, this was somebody who was a small school guy who we didn't really know anything about. But he was getting a lot of praise from Panthers coaches and the players throughout minicamp and training camp. And then he ended up popping off during his rookie season, and now he's one of the better up-and-coming safeties in the league. You look at Jalen Pitre, this is somebody who kind of has been in a similar situation. Now, at the time this segment is being released, we are less than a week away from training camp. But Jalen Pitre has been getting a lot of praise from Texans players such as Derek Stingley and even his head coach, Lovie Smith, who came out and praised him for his ability to pick up the playbook and learn fast, calling him a sponge. And you always love to hear rookies that are learning at a really fast pace. Because when you're making that transition from college to the NFL, a lot of players learn the playbook at different rates. And for the Houston Texans, this is a team that if they're going to have a chance of being a competitive football team, they need their young rookies to produce right away. So, of course, it's a great sign when you hear rumors and reports of rookies learning the playbook at a rapid pace compared to others. And for Jalen Pitre, I think that he has potential to become a Pro Bowler right away for the Houston Texans. And you got to remember, they lost Justin Reed in free agency to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that Jalen Pitre could prove to be an upgrade from Justin Reed. I think that you're going to have somebody who's better in pure man-to-man coverage and somebody who's better in run support. And also, Jalen Pitre has a lot of potential to end up becoming one of the best safeties in the NFL. And I don't really say that a lot, but when you look at today's NFL, it looks as if we're moving to safeties that have to be able to play a multitude of roles. If you have a safety that is only good in man coverage or is only good against the run, 8 times out of 10, they're not going to be all that great. For a safety to really be considered elite, you have to be able to do a lot of things. You have to be a chess piece, per se, if you want to be considered one of the best safeties in the game, in my opinion. And when you look at Derwin James, and the reason why many people, including myself, regard him to be the best safety and one of the best football players in the NFL is because he can do so much. And when you have a player that has the skill set of Jalen Pitre, he just brings a different element to your defense. He is somebody who can take your defense and make it better. Normally, you have players who you plug into your defense who improve your defense. But when you have a player who can bring so much to the table, like Jalen Pitre does, he can really elevate your defense. He can really take your defense from being below average to average. That's how good I think Jalen Pitre is. And that's how important, having a hybrid safety is in today's NFL. And a lot of teams are now starting to move towards that way of finding a safety who they can match up in the slot, who can guard against these slot receivers, who you can man up against these tight ends. And Jalen Pitre, man, I'm really excited to watch him. Now, he's not a freakish athlete, but he is a very good athlete. He's 5'11", 198 pounds. I was really impressed when I watched him play at Baylor. I loved watching him play. It's a reason why if you go back and you look at my Baylor preview and prediction videos, anytime they played somebody, he was on the thumbnail for a reason. I don't just put any random player on the thumbnail just to put him there. If I have a player on the thumbnail, that means that he's an impact player. And for Jalen Pitre, I think that he's going to have a very good rookie season. And he could have a similar season to what Jalen Holland had with the Miami Dolphins last season. Now, Jalen Holland also is one of those guys when he was first drafted by the Dolphins who not a lot of people knew about until the middle portion of the season when everybody's like, okay, who is this rookie? He's making a lot of plays. He's really good. So for Texans fans, I think that you have to be not only excited with Jalen Pitre, but you should be really excited about, the potential of this draft class. This is a very good draft class, and we don't really expect Houston to be all that great, but I think that if these rookies end up playing and living up to the potential that many of us think that they could end up living up to, in a sense, I'm sorry if that sounds a little bit weird, but basically what I'm trying to say is, if this draft class is as good as what we think it is, the Texans have a very bright future. And I do think that Jalen Pitre could end up being the heart and soul of that Houston Texans defense. But let me know what you guys think about Jalen Pitre down in the comment section down below if you're watching this on YouTube.